Ford is struggling to sell their new 2024 model trucks, and in today's video, I want to show you exactly why that's happening. As a huge Ford fan and previous owner of a Ford F-150 Raptor, I was really excited when I saw that the Ford Maverick was going to be in the $20,000 range. But once the Ford Maverick finally started getting on dealer lots, most of them were around $30,000 or even higher. And that dream of a new cheap truck was crushed even more when the Ford CEO announced that every 2024 model truck, from the F-150 to the Ford Maverick, and yes, even the Ranger, was going to get an increase in their MSRP. So despite the slow sales, Ford CEO decided that raising prices was apparently the right move. But that increase in prices just backfired on Ford in a really big way. Ford F-Series truck sales are down a staggering 8% in the first half of 2024 compared to the same time last year, and it doesn't look like sales will pick up anytime soon. But Ford is not the only truck brand suffering from slow sales numbers. Ram and Nissan are also having massive sales flops, and it's only going to get worse. So today we're going to find out exactly why Ford and Nissan truck sales are grinding to a halt, what brands are actually selling, because some of these numbers will actually surprise you, and why the truck market is totally screwed for the rest of 2024. Summer season is typically slow for dealers as most people are spending a huge chunk of their cash on travel with family. But with all the election chaos happening right now, people are going to more than likely hold off on major life purchases. They'll stop buying overpriced trucks, home sales will drop, and we'll probably be at a bit of a slowdown for the next few months. And what's going on at Ford is proof that it's already starting to happen. So I'm here at my local Ford dealer in Boise, Idaho, and as you can see, they're pretty much stacked with 2024 model trucks. These are Mavericks right here. They have a bunch back here. They have this whole row of Lightnings here on the left side. They've got a row here of more base model XLT truck. And if you walk through here, they've got even more on this side going all the way over there. They've got even more right here stacked up, where a Platinum will cost you an $84,000 MSRP. And they've got even more trucks stacked all the way behind me going around here. And way on the other side of the dealer, there's another lot full of them. And so there's a couple of really big glaring issues on why these 2024s are not selling, and I also want to talk about what Ford is trying to do to get these out the door and in the hands of customers. So the past year I've been to this dealership quite a lot, and most of the time when I was here, this row would all be like Platinum higher trim level ones with an 80 grand MSRP like the one that I just showed you. And while they do have some higher trim level Lariats and trim levels like the King Ranch, most of what you'll see going across here is actually lower trim level XLTs and STXs. And the reason that is they were really having a hard time selling the higher trim level trucks, and now to get trucks out the door, they have an overflow of these cheaper trim level models so they can actually get them sold and into the hands of customers. And one thing that's interesting, like this Lariat right here, you'll notice it's a 2024 and the MSRP is $71,000. But if you look on the window, there's a discount of almost $10,000 sitting right at $9,300, which will bring this to $61,995. So they're doing whatever they can at dealerships to try to get rid of these trucks. And at their full MSRP, it doesn't really make sense to buy one. But does it make sense when you get almost 10 grand off? Well, that puts it closer to 2022 and 23 prices. And if you're okay with that, then maybe it's a good time to buy. But as you can see, their lots are just overflowing with more F-150s than they can sell. And when dealerships are stuck with more than they can sell, they have to incentivize customers to get these out the door. And that's why there's significant discounts. Here's another example on this 2024 XLT. It's got an MSRP of $65, which is coming down on MSRP, but this discount's even higher at $10,300. Bringing it to $55,595. So Ford is really having a hard time selling these, and most of the time you don't see incentives or discounts until like the end of the year when they're trying to get rid of their leftover inventory. And as you can see here, just one after another, after another, after another, just discounts as far as the eye can see going all the way down these rows of trucks. But while overall the Ford F-150 sales are down, there is somewhat of an outlier which took me by surprise, and that is the Ford F-150 Lightning. Believe it or not, sales on the Lightning have grown a whopping 78% compared to last year, which honestly is a total shocker. And I just talked to the sales guys at the front for a little while to get some more info on why they think these are selling. And they pretty much told me that the discounts and incentive are what's driving the sales of these trucks, because they said they're not pushing it hard to customers, especially here in Idaho, because not many people want these. So by the time someone comes, they've already looked at these and they know they want a Lightning. And unlike Tesla, where the discount is a write-off on your taxes, the discount on the Lightnings is taken off at the time of purchase, which is a huge incentive for people who are on the fence about the Lightning and then decided, hey, that's enough for me to buy it. But like I said in the beginning, Ford is not the only one struggling with low sales numbers. The next truck brand on this list has been struggling for a while, and sales just don't seem to be getting better. Well, we are here, like many times before, again at Ram, because tragically, their sales are really terrible the first half of this year. They are down a crazy 19.5% compared to the same time last year. And last year, I thought they were doing terribly, but this year, you know, it's just getting worse when you couldn't think that it could get worse. It did. And unfortunately, there's, again, two reasons why I think that this is happening. Here's a pretty basic white Ram e-torque. As you can see, just some steel wheels, lots of plastic trim all over the place. Just as bare bones truck as you can get. It even has kind of a half cab on the rear, not quite a full cab like this one you see here. If you notice the difference with my hand, just the size of the back door. But this 2024 Tradesman 4x2, which is two-wheel drive, is probably the cheapest one that you can find. But the problem is it doesn't even have a full-size back seat like the rest of them on this lot. But this cheapo two-wheel drive half back door will run you $44,460. Your privacy is becoming more important than ever. Automakers are sharing our driving behavior with insurance companies. Spyware is all over the internet, and when you put any of your information online, it can potentially be sold to thousands of data brokers. So how can you make sure your private information isn't being freely spread all over the place or sold? That's where today's sponsor Delete Me comes in. Did you know that your personal data is sold online by data brokers? These data brokers are corporations that collect huge amounts of personally identifiable information and package it all together to create profiles or listings with your personal information. These profiles include things like social security numbers, birthdays, past and recent addresses, and even more. You have the right to stay private and protect your personal data, and Delete Me helps you protect that information. I recently signed up for an account and was shocked by how many websites had my personal data. And having my data all over the web is probably why I keep getting all those random extended warranty phone calls. If you want to protect your personal information, then sign up for a Delete Me account today by using my link in the description below. You'll also get 20% off Delete Me US consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/motorfeed and use the promo code motorfeed at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/motorfeed or use promo code motorfeed at checkout. And when it's not even a full cab, that makes it a really tough sale compared to like a Ford, where with some incentives you can get an XLT for like 45 grand. That just makes this a really hard decision. But what if you wanted to step up to the Ram that has a little higher trim level and the full-size back door and some big old honker mirrors apparently? It jumps up really fast. Here's a 2025, actually, this is a brand new one, 1500 Bighorn crew cab, full-wheel drive, V8, Hurricane twin turbo engine. So it has the new twin turbo Hurricane engine, which people have been talking about, and there's been a lot of arguments. But this will run you $62,680, and it doesn't have leather or anything like that. This is about as bare bones of a 25 model as you can get from Ram. And the new 2025 model isn't really a huge improvement in interior design, or even the rest of the design of the truck is pretty much the same as the outgoing 23 and 24 models. So at the price point, it makes it kind of a tough decision when you're shopping around, especially from other brands like Chevy that's honestly kind of crushing it right now. And those are just like the bare bones minimum base prices of trucks that you can get. What if you wanted to step it up to something like this Rebel trim level, which has more of like a blackout package, nicer wheels and tires, and also steps up the interior quite a bit. I know I need one of those lens things, but right now this is just what we got. This is where the price jumps up significantly. So this is still a 2024 model, 4x4 with the V8 e-torque engine and the annoying stop start. Don't get me started on that, I hate it. But that'll run you $70,080. And it doesn't stop there with the prices of the Ram trucks. They just keep creeping up higher and higher and higher as you go down the line. And here's an interesting thing. Ram is starting to get 25 models, because here's a 25 Ram Rebel, and we can compare the prices. They know they're selling slow because the MSRP actually did not really go up. So this 25 model, interesting enough, no more V8. We got the 3-liter Hurricane twin turbo, is $70,660. So Ram knows that they're having to give discounts on these prices, and that is a reflection in that they're doing one thing right, I think, that Ford isn't doing. And Ford, as you saw, went up on their MSRP. But as you can see, between the 24 Ram Rebel and the 25 Ram Rebel, the MSRPs are pretty much the same, even though it's 1 year newer. That's also going to make it harder, in my opinion, to sell that 2024 model when the 25 is the same price. The only difference being this Ram Rebel has the outgoing Hemi V8 and this one has the new twin turbo. So when you're making a decision between the 23 and 24, pretty sure it's going to come down to, do you want the V8 and probably a discount, or are you willing to risk it on a brand new engine when we know risking it on new engines for the first couple years is usually not the best decision. But what if a regular V8 or a twin turbo wasn't enough? What if you needed to step up on Ram to a heavy duty? That's where the prices just honestly sometimes make me crap my pants. So if you want this 2500 heavy duty Ram with a Cummins turbo diesel, it's gonna run you $86,450. And the price of them go even higher with this edition right here. This is the Night Crew Cab, a 2024 model, for $97,270. Ram has the most expensive high trim level trucks that you can find of any brand. I mean, walk the lots or watch more of my videos and you'll just see how crazy these prices get, especially on the heavy duty trucks or something like the Ram TRX, but that's like on a whole nother level of truck. By the way, buy a used one, that's a better deal. Surprisingly enough, Ram, you would think, is the worst selling truck of the first half of this year, but there's another brand that actually has an even higher sales slump than Ram. Well, it's a pretty sad day for Nissan, especially when it comes to the trucks, because Titan sales are down a whopping 22% compared to the same time last year, and that makes the Nissan Titan the biggest loser and the slowest selling truck of this year so far. And there are two big glaring reasons why that is, and you'll see pretty quickly. Last time I was at this Nissan dealer, this whole section here that has used cars like these Hondas, this Chevy, and is full of Nissan Frontiers. All of this area right here had a bunch of Nissan Titans, probably about 10 of them. And this was just maybe like 4 to 6 weeks ago when I was here last. But now, as you can see, I mean, I'll pan over this whole lot and there's not a single Nissan Titan for sale, brand new models, anywhere where they used to be. So as far as Nissan goes, there's two reasons why Titan sales are as low as they are. One, they just weren't the best bang for the buck when it came to comparing them between like buying a Chevy, a Ford, or a Ram. Those were just the big sellers, and when people chose between getting the Nissan and one of the other big three, most of the time they chose not to buy the Nissan Titan. And another reason is because of this slow sales of the Nissan Titan, they're just done. There's no more new Nissan Titans. So what was left on this lot, what was here in this section before on this lot, was the last bit of new Nissan Titans that they were going to have on this lot. Now, because the Nissan Titan is no more, the only ones I could find was this used one right here in this kind of cherry red color, but again, it's not a new 2024 model. And then there was one more that I found here, again, also on the used lot, and that's this white 2023 Pro 4X with the XD package and some really interesting graphics on the side right here, and some step rails and a bunch of other cool stuff. But there's no price on here, so I don't know how much they're asking for it, but I'm pretty sure at this point it's close to MSRP because they don't have any new ones to sell. So if you want to get a Titan and you want one of the last remaining XD Pro 4Xs, there it is right here at Dennis Dillon in Boise, Idaho. Other than that, the Titan is done. It's no more. And honestly, it's a little bit tragic. But that's it for all the slow sellers. There's 3 brands that are out right now that actually have an increase in sales. So let me show you those right now. So I'm here at Chevy and GMC because they're actually, compared to Ford, have a over 3% increase in their sales when you combine the numbers of Chevy and GM together. And there's a few reasons why I think Chevy and GMC is having a really good start for the first 6 months of 2024. One of this is like personal opinion, the other is more factual. First off, I think the new Chevy body design looks really good, and dare I say, better looking than the Ford F-150. At least that's my personal opinion. I think the design is clean, it's modern at the same time, and when you get a nicer one, more like the ZR2 package with a lot of stuff blacked out, it just really looks kind of badass, in my opinion. And then the second thing that's more of a fact is, for what you get, Chevy is actually more of a bang for your buck than the current model Ford F-150. And one example is this higher trim level Silverado LT Trail Boss. This is more of like a trim level for off-roading and doing a lot of fun, crazy things in the dirt. But if you wanted to get like a higher trim level with the big screen and leather and all that stuff in a Ford F-150, that would run you about $78,000. But the MSRP of this Trail Boss right here is $70,955. But like all the dealers now trying to sell their truck, they have incentives. And the incentive on this actually blew my mind when I looked at the sticker. So remember, this MSRP is $70,955, but they have a big enough discount to where you could grab this for $62,705. And when you compare it to a similarly priced $62,000 F-150, I never thought I would say this, but it makes more sense to buy the Chevy. Now, again, I want to reiterate, I still think all these prices are crazy, but I'm just showing you what's here, what's out there, and then you can make any of these decisions for yourself. Now, there's also another Chevy that I think if you're looking for a new truck is a pretty good deal, and that's the Duramax diesel Chevy Z71 with the Trail Boss trim package. Because it's a less desirable one, and I think just because people are a little shy on the diesels, the MSRP of this is actually $56,525. But again, they have discounts on everything. Every 2024 model has pretty good discount. So you could pick up this customized Trail Boss with the Duramax diesel engine for $52,525, which if you look at that, you can then see why Chevy is doing so good. Chevy/GM, you know, they're the same, but this lot just has more Chevys than GMCs. And so here's a little social proof on why Chevy, and proof that Chevy is selling a lot of stuff really quickly. Colorado, sold. This Z71, sold, 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 and more sitting here waiting to put a sold sign on it. So with the prices and incentives and all that, you can easily see why Chevy is really increasing in sales. And honestly, it does kind of make sense. So for all you Chevy fans out there, you should probably be celebrating. All right, I'm here at Toyota, and we really need to talk about the new Tundra because Toyota has the absolute largest sales increase on their full-size Tundra compared to any of the other brand of trucks that we've talked about in this video. And we've already covered the three that had the main decreases. Well, this Tundra actually has the highest increase in sales. And walking around this lot just proves it. Toyota Tundra sales are up a whopping 31.3% compared to the same time period last year. And just walking around this lot that I've been to before is total proof of that. So last time I was here at this Toyota dealership in Nampa, Idaho, this entire section had 3 or 4 full rows of Toyota Tundras. And now, as you can see here, every single row is empty. There are no trucks here whatsoever. And this is a really, really huge lot to hold that many Tundras, and most of them are gone. And now they didn't sell all of them in the last, I don't know, 6 weeks or so since I've been here, but I'd say they sold like a good 80% of all the trucks that were here. And they actually sold so many that they were able to move them to a different part of the lot. And let me show you the shocking difference between 4 rows over here and to where they are now today, just a few weeks later. This row here and this row here is where they have all of the Toyota Tundras right now. So we went from 3 or 4 giant rows on the back part of the lot behind me to just 2 rows here today. And the crazy thing about this is not all of these are new ones. A good chunk of one of these rows is used Toyota Tundras. So most of this row right here are all brand new ones. And then this row here, we've got a few used ones mixed in with the new right around this side here. But Toyota's definitely the winner in sales. As far as percentage increase goes, you know, the Ford F-150 has always been the best selling truck in America. And it's probably still gonna be hard to defeat the number of sales that they make. But as far as the percentage increase, Toyota is crushing it at over 31%, which just blows my mind. And I think there's a couple of main reasons why that is. So about this time last year, Toyota was still struggling to get inventory in. They had about half the amount of trucks that they usually have on the lot, and they just didn't have as many to sell. So one of the things is Toyota over the past several months has been cranking out the Tundras like crazy and getting more out the door. So that's one thing that can help with sales. Obviously, you have more to sell, you can then sell more. And 2, back when they had a limited supply, most of them were really, really super high trim levels that were running like $70,000, $80,000. And not everyone can afford the higher end trucks. But now Toyota's getting some of the more mid-range to low-range trim levels in, which then brings the MSRP down a lot further. For example, this Tundra right here is a limited with the TRD trim package. And by the way, this is not cheap by any means. We're looking at full-size trucks in 2024, and you can't use the word cheap in full-size truck anymore at all. It's just lower trim level and less expensive. But this 2024 four-wheel drive Crew Max and Lunar Rock, which I think is a great color with the TRD package, will run you $64,492. But they do have a lower trim level, and that's the SR5 right here in the same color. And as you can see, no TRD package, but it still has four-wheel drive, still the full size 4 full doors, the composite bed, and pretty much everything you need to do truck stuff around Idaho and just anywhere else you are in the country. But for this 2024, you're looking at $58,298. But they also have discounts on some of the ones that have been sitting here on the lot a little bit longer. For example, this 1794 edition has been sitting for a while, and in order to get rid of it, they have to drop the price down. And they significantly dropped the price down on this specific one. This 2024 four-wheel drive Tundra HV had an MSRP of $72,384, but they've significantly dropped the price, pretty much $10,000 to make it $62,581. And there's a little fine print down there that says price includes trade and finance, and I don't know the details of that, but at the end of the day, 10 grand is a significant drop, especially when Toyota was not the one dropping prices whatsoever, but now they are. And those price drops, an increase in inventory, and having more mid-trim level vehicles is definitely helping Toyota get that 31% increase in sales. Now I'm gonna go off track here for just a minute because I saw something really cool that I haven't seen at this dealership yet. And that is a new Toyota Land Cruiser, and not just any normal Toyota Land Cruiser. This one actually has a little bit of aftermarket modifications on it. And this one also is their demo vehicle. And as you can see here, it's not for sale. So what did they do to this compared to stock? They did some pretty simple things, which makes it look perfect. And if I ever bought one of these, this is probably what I would do to it. But they did a leveling kit on it, which brings the nose up probably about 1.5 inches just to make it more level so you don't have as much rake. And then they also put 35-inch tires with some Method wheels, which Method makes some of the best wheels that you can buy right now. And to be honest, I think it looks really, really good. Now, these are also really, really expensive. They also wrap the roof black, put on window tint, and overall, these simple mods just make it look 10 times better. I think Toyota did a great job bringing this back. Would it be nice if it had a V8? Sure, but hybrids are the way Toyota is going, and we'll just have to wait and see how that goes in the future.